Well, good morning. It is 9 o'clock. I will open the county board meeting for March 7th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, number one on the agenda, review and approve the previous board meeting minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Andrea, I would like to welcome you back. It's very nice to see you again. All right, number two, review and approve the county board agenda. Are there any changes or additions?
There are no changes.
All right, thank you.
Move approval as second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the board agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion passes. Review and approve the items on the consent agenda.
Move approval as presented, all 8.
Second, Betcher.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Regular agenda, county administrators report, Three Rivers Community Action Support documents.
Okay, in your packet, you've got the request from Three Rivers Community Action. They are proposing a 48 rental unit complex in Red Wing, which will be going to the City Council on March 13th, 2023. The project is outlined in the packet. They are seeking two things. One, a letter of support from the county board, which we will draft if you so wish. And secondly, they would like to participate in our building permit waiver program. They're asking for this in advance because it is likely that the project won't break ground until 2024. There is currently a balance of $220,000 in that fund, and if the board so chooses, we can appropriate $27,000 for this project for a year from now. It is likely that we will even with the run out of this year's building permits, we will still have a balance in that fund. So in Leah Hall from Three Rivers I believe is online here if you have any specific questions.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, hello everyone.
All right, so there's no problem legally with us putting aside money for
No,
this?
you're just designating it.
Okay. All right, does the board have questions, comments?
Well, my comment would be we really are in need of housing, and that Three Rivers has done a great job with many, many projects. And what they're asking us for is the building permit. I don't know if forgiveness or is the right
Waiver.
word, but what?
Waiver.
Waiver. And that would seem perfectly reasonable to me to provide this number of units of housing to the community. That would be my statement.
Jason.
And I agree, it's good offered, but why are we going to tell just because they're building a large unit? It's kind of based on the dollar amount, and I don't know why we would tell a single family home person too bad because we saved $27,000 for them. So if there is the money left when they're coming for the permit, by all means. But I don't know why we would set $27,000 aside if it is in demand from an individual wanting a permit.
I think that helps get the funding in the first place for the project. Is that correct, Leah?
Yes, that's right. So one thing you'll note in the presentation that we attached to this request is that we're looking for local contributions, things that we can add to our application to essentially leverage that so we're able to increase our chances of getting funded. So if we are able to show that we have your support and a commitment for a fee waiver, that would help us in scoring out with Minnesota Housing.
They get more points.
Right. It increases the odds of them getting the grant.
Yeah. The other reason why you do this in advance, this is a agency that's proposing to build 48 units. Typically, people come in and build 1 unit. So this is a big deal.
It's also a big, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's also a big deal if you're a single family and you're waiting and you say, well, geez, that's nice because I can save, whether it be, $3,000 to $5,000 on my building permit. Makes a big difference if you're getting a loan and you got to have 10%, 8% down to get your mortgage. So,
It's true.
I get it. But there's a lot more. How do you look at it as a single private individual building a house, and how much taxes are you paying to get this project and this grant to go through to build all these other ones? So just have a problem with going to work in the private sector. This is all tax dollars that you're taking out of me in the first place to put towards all this. So, hey, if you can get me the money back, fine. I have no doubt that there will probably be $27,000 left in this by the time it comes for us, but I hate to be the individual that says, no, don't quite have it because we set aside this money for you to continue to go to work, to pay your taxes in for all these grants and everything to go for 48-unit housing. So I'm sure the money will be there, but I don't support taking the money. It'll be there up front. If it's there, it's there.
All right.
It's not. So.
Well, I would lean in the direction of what Susan Betcher had said, and that is that this really does offer something to the community that we do not have, that a one family home would not, and that is a considerable amount of reasonable cost housing for people to come into. Brian, off the top of your head, if I was going to come in and build a $300,000 home, can you tell me off the top of your head what the building permit cost would be?
I think on average it's about $1,500 as our reimbursement.
Okay.
And this was 48 units, so it's
48.
about $500, a little more than that per
Right.
unit.
So I do support it. I think it's a very good idea. Any other comments?
I guess I can definitely see where Jason's coming from, but I think, yeah, it's probably a direction that is an advantage to the county.
All right, do we have a direction?
I would move approval as presented.
I second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to set aside money for the out of the building permit fund for Three Rivers Action Project.
And the letter of support.
Right.
And the letter of
We'll
support.
take care of it. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Facilities Maintenance Director's report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're talking about rooftop unit replacement at the government center. These were actually scheduled in 2022, but from manufacturing delays and Department of Energy updates to efficiency standards, it was kind of pushed out to this year. Made more sense to carry it over into 2023. So rooftop units 1 through 9 are currently cooling only units, and we will need to add gas heat to those units so that we can operate those year round. In order to bring in the required minimum outdoor air. We're also looking at combining the makeup air unit ductwork repairs and the boardroom ductwork modifications into this project to have that put out to bid for one project. There's a couple of other things for safety. Some of the units are too close to the edge of the roof, so we'll need to either add anchor points or safety railings. So just to be determined which is going to work better and be more cost effective. And then we'll update the automated controls. And I did ask for a alternate to connect our radiation to those so that we can operate basically in conjunction with the rooftop units. So if we're using radiation for heat, we don't need to use the rooftop units for heat and vice versa. As well as we can maintain the temperature a little more efficiently and effectively. The rooftop units have reached the end of their useful life. So updating the efficiency and controls will help reduce our overall energy costs. So staff is recommending that we contract with KFI for design and construction services, combine the rooftop unit makeup air and ductwork budgeted items into one project, and seek to pursue sealed bids for the project and use the designated ARPA funding of $292,415. Estimated probable cost of construction over the project cost is $278,000.
Thank you. Other questions from the board?
So when you say anchor points versus railings, the anchor points would be used to put up railings when you need to service them rather than have railings there all the time?
The anchor points would be used to tie off to. So you would wear a harness and tie off to those anchor points so that you could not get to the edge of the roof.
And that will be determined in the process, which is.
Correct. Correct.
Which will meet
Yes.
whatever we need.
Correct.
I'd move approval of this recommendation.
I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Tim. Human Resource Managers Report. Good morning.
All right. So the report before you today is to make some adjustments for the wages for summer help and interns. The first part of the request talks about summer students or summer help. Typically, those are brought on to do administrative or manual tasks over the summer months. And we've got some statutory limitations on how long we can hire those individuals based on their age. So the request today is to make an adjustment to the summer help rate of pay by a 50-cent increase, which amounts to about a 3% wage adjustment, which is what our full-time employees received. And then those rates, what we've typically done is year over year, if a student returns, we give them a 50-cent bump for each returning year. And so we're asking to continue that formula as well. And then the second part of the request talks about the pay that we offer to interns and kind of differentiating what an internship is versus summer help, because I think there's a tendency to want to use those terms synonymously. And an internship really is something different. It's an educational opportunity, an opportunity to provide mentorship. It can also be a long-term recruiting strategy, of course. But it's quite different. And the obligation is for really to us provide teaching to the student and enrichment in their course of study. And the kinds of projects tend to be tie into the education, be more tied to our strategic goals or departmental objectives, and maybe a little bit more longer term. And so the recommendation that we're bringing today is based on the students, the education required for the internship, based on the person's enrollment, kind of having a tiered hourly rate there. So for students enrolled in technical college or in an undergrad program, having a range of $16 to $20 an hour. If they're a master's enrollment, $20 to $22, and then for individuals who are going to law school or pursuing a doctoral program, $22 to $24 an hour.
I have one question. Do I fully understand the importance of interns? Do we have the personnel to oversee the interns? Because that's usually part of it, correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we've left it to departments to make that determination. But yes, internships in my mind need to be very carefully considered and thought out before we go into them. And there needs to be very clear marcation and understanding of what the objectives are and evaluation and the follow through on that.
Very good, thank you.
Is there a length to the internships?
It depends on the student and the opportunity. Some schools will say, you need to have X number of hours for this internship. In other cases where it's not driven by the student and it's by us, then we would be limited to this 100 working days for students.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Both good programs. It's the only way we can expose people to county work. It
Yes,
really is.
it's a very good way.
The hourly rate for the interns, how much has that gone up?
What we're asking for is a 50-cent increase, which would be about a 3%.
On the interns as well?
On the interns.
Okay.
Interns historically, we have, for the most part, followed the same pay rates as we have for summer help and as we've had conversation in the management team, we've talked that there needs to be a little bit of differentiation there, especially when we consider law clerk is one that
Sure.
we historically
So these
have.
are new numbers.
These are new numbers for the interns, correct?
And for example, with the law, how would you determine the 22 or the 24?
Yeah, I want our department heads to be thinking about the, number one, what they've budgeted, what they can
Right.
afford to do there. And I want there to be consideration about what the student brings to the table and what experience and skills they have. I think if we're talking about a law clerk with absolutely no experience, similar to what we would do in any other hiring practice, we'd be starting at the low end of that range.
The board's wishes?
I would move approval.
Move.
So
Do
as
we have
it's presented.
As presented. All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Finance Director's report. And congratulations to all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This has already been disclosed. Obviously, there was a press release, but we were proud to announce that the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to Goodhue County for the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or the Audit Report, for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2021. This is the third consecutive year that Goodhue County has achieved this prestigious award. This is a recognition that is only shared by 17 other counties in Minnesota. This award is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. The report has been judged by an impartial panel to meet high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure, to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the report. I'd like to both congratulate and thank Administrator Arneson and the Goodhue County Board for the continued support, as this attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. This achievement would also not have been possible without the tireless efforts of our talented staff, including the finance department, and I've invited them all to join us here. We've got Nikki, Laura, Nicole, Jill, and Aaron back there, as well as Brian. Also would not have been possible without the tireless work of the other departmental finance staff in the Sheriff's Department, HHS, and out of the Public Works Department, the payroll team, and the department heads for adhering to the strict accounting and policy standards that puts Goodhue County in this elite group. This requires no board action. It's just to let you know what's going on with our team.
Thank you very much.
I did not. I didn't know this was a global award. Being Canada's in it, it is.
Canada as well, yes. Yeah.
Way to go. And hopefully Briggs will take a mugshot and get it on
No
the,
thanks.
on the website. Excellent work.
And have 17 counties gotten it 3 years in a row, or is that?
There are other counties that have had it for a number of years.
Okay.
This is the third year that we've gotten it.
Right, but I would guess that all those 17 haven't gotten it 3 years in a row.
I don't know the answer to that.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it's important everybody, including the public, understands there are 87 counties in Minnesota, and we are now one of 17 that has won this award, of which I thank you very much, your entire team, for doing that. Because I think we all recognize it means even more work and oversight to be able to get there. And while we might not agree on how to spend the money, it's very, very good for taxpayers to recognize that the money definitely has a very strong oversight. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Public Works Director's report.
Good morning, everyone. Our first item today is to consider the award of our 2023 traffic marking contract. Now, the board has approved several of our maintenance contracts under the consent agenda. Traffic marking is coming today due to the higher than normal prices that we noticed when we opened up the bids. Our low contractor was at 27.25% over our estimate. As with most things these days, especially in the construction world, we're experiencing heavy inflationary pricing. Traffic marking is no different. We do have a unique situation here where we're able to work with the contractor to kind of replace some of the epoxy work that we're going to do with some latex work instead, due to the fact that staff has received a Highway Safety Improvement Program grant for money that we can put towards the installation of epoxy. So we'll be working with this contractor if the board chooses to award this contract to reduce some of that overage. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the county is statutorily required to stripe our roads. That is one of the things that we have to do. So with that, I'll entertain any questions the board may have.
The only thing that concerned me is delaying striping some of the roads, because as any of us get older, those white lines are pretty important, especially at night, to track the roads. So I would think that we would want to paint the roads as we've been doing, not delay.
Yes.
You agree with that, Greg?
Well, yeah, what he's talking about is we can delay putting latex on at a later point, so we'll put on a cheaper version under this contract, so we'll still get something this year.
Okay.
But the latex lasts longer. It looks much, or the epoxy looks much better. Latex is much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Usually lasts just 1 year. So
Okay.
if we can get something on it this year, come next year, we'll be able to put it into that contract and then put down.
I understand.
Will that interfere with how long it would last if,
Yes, it will. Yeah, yes.
all right,
Yeah.
so, well,
Yeah, that latex only, it
that's
lasts
meant
a
to have
year
an
at the
overlay on
most.
top of it. Or something on top of
We
it.
replace our latex paint on an annual basis. Over the last several years, we put a lot more epoxy out there on our higher traffic roads. County Road 18 is a great example where we paved from 61 up to our County Road 19, and then in subsequent years we did a seal coat and then did a ground in wet reflective application of epoxy on the center line and the fog line. So you get that.
How long does the epoxy last?
Everything's dependent on traffic and everything, but we shoot for about 7 years. 7 to 10 years is about average.
And is the latex 7 times cheaper?
It's pretty close.
Okay.
With the way pricing's going right now, we'll have to reevaluate.
But there's the cost of putting it on too.
Yeah.
But it really becomes important in the springtime where the latex has pretty much been stripped off the road by the plows. And as Jess mentioned, when it comes time for the epoxy, we actually grind a groove into the road so that it can sit low enough so that the plows don't rip it off. So that which ends up contributing to the cost of the project as a whole. But the beauty of it, it's there for 12 months out of the year versus if it's stripped off, a lot of that latex is gone this time of year. It gets faded. It gets harder to see.
You lose that retro reflectivity.
That's tough when paint's gone up $8 a gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not cheap paint to start with.
That's, 67% increase. All right, so your recommendation is that we give the bid to Sir Lines-A-Lot.
Yes.
They probably can't go wrong with Sir Lines-A-Lot. All right.
Move approval of the recommendation.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to accept Sir Lines-A-Lot for the bid contract. Any other discussion from the board?
The only question I have is there a difference? I know we've used a lot of epoxy on concrete roads.
Mhm.
Does it last as long on asphalt roads as it does on,
We haven't noticed a difference.
you haven't noticed
In
a difference?
age,
Well, that's
no.
good. That's good.
No, as long as you're recessing it, that's the important part.
And I think, this summer, we're gonna grind off one between 9 and County Road 1,
Mhm.
not 1-6. And that hasn't been painted, has it, since it was initially put on in 14?
No.
So that kind of tells you how long epoxy will last on a road that is busy with the grooves in it that puts it down under in those.
Have you ever done the grooves and put latex on that? Or that's not worth it?
You still, the latex still deteriorates so fast that you just don't get the life out of it.
Did we put epoxy on 9 east of 2 that we did last year?
No, when we pave a road, we put latex on, and the problem there is the bleeding effect from the oils that are used in the pavement.
Takes a while.
So we don't usually tend to try and put epoxy on our roads until after we've seal coated them. A concrete road's different because we're not seal coating those, but the blacktop roads, we'll get the seal coat on, and then a year after, we'll come in and we'll grind. Yeah, some of that's dependent on traffic volumes too. We're not going to do it on every single road.
Right, exactly.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion passes.
All right, our second item today is that of our 2023 aggregate surfacing contract. This contract was bid out this last week, and the bids came in substantially over what our estimated costs were. And the contract was for aggregate surfacing on county roads 41, 44, and 49. We have about we have a 3-year rotational program for our aggregate surfacing, and this is the 3rd year. And these roads are due for some servicing. But what the bids coming in substantially over, based off the estimate, 32.56% over. I took a look at the per ton price increase that we noticed from last year's pricing to this year's pricing, and that amounted to a 45.5% increase, which is it's just not something that we necessarily would approve pursuing. Now, the alternative here is that maintenance staff would haul this rock instead, and the increase that we're seeing in a contractor's pricing versus what we can do it for would be substantially cheaper. So we are not recommending approval of the egg surfacing contract.
Is there any reason to think prices are going to go down?
We're not sure. I did a little investigative research into the cost of Class 5 material that we're using on other contracts, and we actually noticed a decrease in the price. So,
And we only got one bid?
yeah, for the location of the work that we were asking to have done this year, it was only advantageous for one contractor to bid it.
When we say haul it ourselves, you're still gonna haul from that area then, that area pit, I'm assuming? Or-
We'll haul from, we'll get pricing from several vendors and then use what's most advantageous for us.
Did we ever go ahead with that super truck we looked at?
We did. We went ahead with 2 of
You
those.
got the belly dump then?
We bought side dumps, and actually those are ready to be picked up. So we're gonna pick up our side dumps. Unfortunately, the super trucks aren't ready, so don't have anything to pull them with quite yet. But we're exploring options to lease some trucks to pull the side dumps this
Brad
year.
and I each have a pickup.
Hope you got
Mine
good
broke
shocks.
down.
So by changing this bid, you're just rejecting them basically from the hauling aspect and transitioning to staff
So we
hauling it, so is your
Right.
plan.
Public
you
Works-
don't need a bid for it.
We budget annually for crushed rock. We have a crushed rock line item. With the overages experienced in a lot of these other contracts, I don't want to necessarily put us in a bad financial position either. We have enough money in our crushed rock budget, coupled with what's left over in our minor maintenance contracts. We'll be able to offset what the contractor would be able to haul for, actually be able to do it cheaper, so.
Yep, so I'll make a motion to reject the bid from Kumar Constructions.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to reject the bid. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there were several for your information documents. We've had a chance to look those over. County Board Committee reports. Anyone have reports?
The only thing I'm going to say is I had Briggs get that sheet ready for me for when I go to township meetings about the notify me.
Yes.
So I can hand that out when I go to township meetings, so people that want to, it's just an easy way for them. They could take a picture of it, whatever, but I have several copies of that I'll be using at the township meetings I attend this spring, next week, their annual meetings. And I just thought that if you're interested, it's probably an easy way for them to
Right.
have that contact, that way to get contact and information from the county.
Excellent, thank you. I have a couple. One is in regards to public safety bill at the state, and that is that it does appear to be moving forward to consolidate and come up with one payment plan per diem for the 3 different delivery models. So
For
if
county
for
probation?
for county probation, yes,
Okay.
for county supervision.
Yep.
So that so far appears to be moving forward with the support of Commissioner Schnell. The other thing I had about a river challenge, the Mississippi River Challenge, I did hear from, I had invited some commissioners from the counties along the river in Minnesota to participate, so I sent them a personal invitation. And I did get a call from someone from Stearns County, and he is going to suggest that Benton County across the river, they go into a project together. So that might be forthcoming, I hope. Those are the only 2 that I've heard from so far. And the Today magazine came out, and there is an article about our river project in the Today magazine. So that might help some. And Briggs has been working on a public awareness publicity package that other counties can find on our website so that they don't have to recreate the wheel. So we'll see how that goes.
That was Joe, I can't remember his last name, from Stearns.
Persky,
Persky, yeah.
Persky.
And then Ed Pop from
Yes,
Benton
Ed
County.
Pop.
I know Ed pretty well. I actually know Joe a little bit too. So I'll follow up with them when I see them at meetings.
All right.
Ed's on the EMC board now. Ed Pop from Benton County.
Yeah. The only other thing that I have from the policy committees was on public safety, and that one of the possibilities they're looking at the state level is to try a pilot project with 1 jail in 1 county to turn it into a mental health jail facility where anyone from the region, you'd put your people with high mental health needs in one particular jail within your region. And they were looking at doing a pilot project for that because the need is very high.
Well, and one of the things the legislature, I think, has been working on is also when those are released from jail, that there is a continuum of care for those people with those mental health needs. It's not like, okay, you're out of the jail and whatever.
And that's pretty much where we are at the
Yeah,
moment.
it is
Yes.
pretty much where we are, and then they reoffend, and then they're back in there doing it all over again. So I think,
Yes, the need for case management.
yeah, the need to follow up and have a plan before they open the gate and let them out.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it gets to this point before they actually take some action on some of those issues.
And perhaps the public needs to understand that the state of Minnesota, while we have, we're in the top number of states for the number of people that we have under supervision. We are the last state in the nation for how much money we put into supervision.
From a state level, not from a county level.
From a state level, not from a county level.
That's
No,
because the counties have been picking it up forever.
from the state level, yes.
Exactly.
Minnesota is rock bottom. So,
They're
interesting.
for firefighter pensions also. They're
Really?
Ranked 48th. So.
Yeah.
Sometimes makes you wonder. All right, any new and old business?
I just have a thank you to the sheriff's department. We had an event on Saturday in Wanamingo, our vintage ride, and the community involvement there, they came over and we had so many compliments. I said, how do you get your sheriff's department to do that? And they came in, they talked with the people, and it was a good deal, so thank you.
Once again, welcome back, Andrea.
Mhm.
Glad to have you. Review and approve county claims.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded to pay the bills. All those approve, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, we are adjourned. We will come back at 10 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes.
Committee of the whole. Thank you all very much.